Right, hello lads and lasses, and welcome back to Boys Down Under and to the Celtic board. Welcome to my TED Talk, where today I'm going to convince all of you why Celtic should permanently sign both Felipe, Jota and Carter-Vickers. Oh, I apologise everyone. I sincerely apologise for that intro. That was very unfunny from me, and I definitely should not do that ever again. But here we are. So, nonetheless, here we are. Welcome back to Boys Down Under, where today we're going to talk about, like I said in that awful intro, why I think Celtic should make the loan deals of Felipe Jota and Cameron Carter-Vickers permanent deals. And yeah, look, remember to subscribe to the channel. We are nine subscribers off that golden 1,000 mark. So if you are watching and you are enjoying, please remember to subscribe. If we can hit that 1,000 subscribers, I will be over the moon. I don't think I'm not even going to talk about it because I'm going to G myself too much. But without further ado, let's get into the video. So I feel I should, just talk generally about the players first before we go into each one in depth. So that's what I'm going to do. And look, we're going to talk about them in a bit of a general sense. So both players, since their arrival on deadline day, after the international break, they have not missed a single match for Celtic. That's 7 out of 7 each for the two lads. And that is impressive. You can't deny it. That is impressive, mainly for the feat that they've played all their games and they haven't actually looked disappointing in any of those games. They've all been playing well. Obviously, I think there was that one off day maybe they had against Livingston, but nonetheless, I can't even remember how well they played individually, but still, I don't think they've had a truly off day as of yet. And look, since their arrivals, they've created chemistry. Well, it's not FIFA. I shouldn't really use that, but they've created these partnerships with the players around them. And look, it's gonna lead me onto a tangent, but hear me out here. So they've created these partnerships with these players, and these partnerships will continue to grow and continue to get better and better throughout the season, right? Of course, because they'll be playing with each other more. So then they're not bought permanently next season. Let's say, hypothetically speaking, they play really well this season, they form great partnerships with the players around them, but then they're not bought permanently at the end. They've both let to go back off to their parent clubs, and they're not bought for permanent deals. Now, what happens next? Well, the answer to that is that Celtic have to buy new players or loan in new players. And what happens after that is those new players create bonds and, partnerships with the pre-existing players from this year. So what this does, it's essentially going into a cycle of players creating new partnerships with players only for them to get dudded at the end of the year. And it's literally backwards. The club would be going backwards if that were to happen. Now, obviously, I'm pretty certain that if both Carter-Vickers and Jota stay fit, play well for the whole season, they'll get signed permanently. But realistically speaking, it's the Celtic board. If they don't want to fork out £11 million combined, then there could be some issues arising. And look, honestly, we have to remember this rebuilding process. It's a long I wouldn't say long, but it's definitely not a short-term process, right? You look at some clubs in the world, and when they go through a rebuild, it takes them 3, 4, sometimes even 5 years to go through a proper rebuild to bring their club back to full strength. For Celtic, it won't be that long. It won't be that long, but it certainly won't be like 6 months. We obviously have seen now the rebuild hasn't completed, of course. Celtic still need to bring in more players, and we need to create those partnerships. But the good thing about this is that these two Donnies are young. Carter-Vickers is 23 and Jota is 22. They're here for the long haul, and more importantly, they want to be here at Celtic. They've gotten more game time in the last 7 games for Celtic than they have at their parent clubs in the whole time they've been there, excluding friendlies, of course. But in proper games, they've gotten more game time here than they have in all the years combined at their parent clubs, Benfica and Spurs respectively. And look, they're developing as players, and Celtic are helping them reach their potential. I don't think as a football player, you could want more else from a football club except for lots of money, if you're into that. But Look, I think both players have shown tremendous improvement since their first game at Celtic in a short space of time, and I think the players will realise that and understand they want to be here at Celtic, whether we're in a rebuild process or whether we're top of the league, they'll want to be here regardless, which is promising to see. And I don't really have much to say else about them as general. I think we should go into them, as individual players, because that's what they are. They're individuals. So we'll start with the youngest first, and that is Felipe Jota. Now, Jota arrived from Benfica on deadline day on a year-long loan with the option to buy. Now, since his arrival, the Celtic support, including myself, have fell in love with him. Maybe that's a bit far, but we've taken to him very well, and he has taken to us very well in return. Nonetheless, his arrival for Celtic, it's been impressive. It's been really, really impressive. Based off stats alone, in the 7 games he's played for Celtic, he has 2 assists and 2 goals to his names. He's putting out an output of a goal or assist over one. I'm bad at math, excuse this. I'm going to move on. But what has really impressed fans, and myself included, is his footwork. It's typical of Portuguese footballers that Jota is the best dribbler, skiller, whatever you want to call it, technical player in the team at the moment, in my opinion. Obviously, there's arguments for Tommy Rogic, but in my opinion, with the ball at his feet, Jota, he can just dazzle defenders. They won't know which way he's going. And you saw it against the better teams as well, against Leverkusen. He had Jeremy Frimpong's number all night. Would not let him go. It was a great performance from an individual when the whole team performance was shocking. But nonetheless, off the pitch is something we also need to talk about, because in young players, they can be rash, brash, overconfident, those sort of things. But not for Jota. Jota, for his age, his attitude and his mindset are so good. They are so good and so mature for such a young lad like himself. And I think that's what makes a great player, being quality on and off the pitch, something Jota has shown he is 110% with his time at Celtic. So his buyout clause is worth around £6 million, and I think that's a bargain. I think if he was having the season, if he was playing as well as he was at Celtic at Benfica this year, his value would be up there at like £10 million. But because it's Celtic, it's obviously going to be a little bit less. So £6 million Benfica have valued him at. And look, as long as he doesn't do a John Guidetti or gets injured badly, touch wood, I think honestly you could put money on the fact that Celtic will make this deal a permanent deal. And I think the money should be coughed up. As soon as the season ends or as soon as his loan ends, that money should be coughed up 110%. Yeah, I don't have much more to say about him. Great lad. Now, into the second player, Mr. Carter-Vickers, like Jota. He arrived on deadline day, and even you could go as far as to say he arrived on deadline minute. The fact that he was announced in the dying minutes of the transfer window, it's one no one expected to happen, but I think the whole support is so thankful that this deal went through. And look, since his debut match against Ross County, where he scored a freak goal that just unlocked their defence and helped us get the win that day, he has provided a lot of stability in Celtic's defence, in a Celtic defence which is quite shaky at the moment, to say the least. And it helps the fact that he's built like a brick shithouse, and it's proved that height is not an issue for him at centre-back. He is a solid lad, despite not being very tall and very tall, because he just makes up for it in pure brute strength. And look, there's obviously many issues at the back for Celtic at the moment. I feel the wing-backs aren't providing a lot of stability there for Celtic. I think on counter-attacks, those 2 wing-backs get caught out the most, so that's something that needs to be addressed. But nonetheless, this isn't a rant about Celtic's defensive flaws. This is a praising session about Carter-Vickers. I think that makes sense. However, nonetheless, at the back, he has settled into the team much quicker than Starfelt has. I'd make the argument, despite on his arrival against Ross County, on his debut match, he looked a lot more settled in than Starfelt ever had with Celtic. And Starfelt had been there for 3-4 weeks. Look, I think once Julien returns to the team, I think both these players, Carter-Vickers and Julien could form a very, very formidable partnership between the two. And I honestly think I can see that going into next year and a couple of years to come, because like I said, hold on, I was going to sneeze. I might still do it sometime. I don't know. What was that? I'm not sure. Nonetheless, I think if Julian can overcome his injury soon, stay fit for the rest of the season, and so can Carter-Vickers, I think if we get the wing backs in check, that defense could be a very, very solid defense. One that isn't easily counterattacked and one that isn't easily penetrated by opposition teams. But that is all from me. So, to sum up, if both players stay fit, stay healthy, and they continue their solid form at Celtic, I don't see a reason why we shouldn't sign them permanently. And you know, I'm going to go as far as to say we should 100% sign them permanently. So a quick message to any members of the Celtic board watching this up. Get your wallets ready, because you're going to be forking out £11 million for these two guns. But like I said, that is all from me. So remember to subscribe. We're so close to 1,000 subscribers. 9 subscribers when I'm making this video is all we needed. So please hit that button. But until next time, hail, hail.